Please welcome Baker Matt.
Hey there, traveler! Are you looking for a new place to visit this summer?
I've heard that this country is rich in unique history and culture.
Who are you guys?
I'm Gideon, and our team is here to help you decide on your next trip around the globe.
That's right. We are here to present some of our knowledge of the country that is known to have the smallest desert in the world called the Judean Desert. Do you know where it is?
I'm not quite sure. Can you help me?
Enough talking and let's show our dear friend the wonderful country of Israel.
Israel is the first Jewish state to exist for more than 2,000 years. It stands for the restoration of their homeland after the long diaspora period following the Herodian monarchy's fall in the 1st century.
Israel, officially the State of Israel, is a country in the Middle East located at the eastern end of the Mediterranean Sea. The capital and seat of government are both in Jerusalem. However, the latter status has not gained wide international recognition.
A long coastal plain, highlands in the north and center, and the Negev Desert in the south make up the small nation of Israel's diversified topography.
Did you know that the state of Israel is the only Jewish nation in the modern period? It is also the region that now falls within its borders and has a lengthy and rich history that dates from pre-biblical times.
Israel is kind of familiar. It's one of those places present in the Bible. Alright then, let's move on to the culture of Israel.
The culture and traditions of the Israelites developed long before the country of Israel gained independence in 1948. The diversity of the cultures and traditions being experienced in Israel can be attributed to the fact that both Judaism and Jewish culture have influenced the culture of this country.
The culture and traditions of Israel originated from the Jewish religion. It is stated that Israel is the origin of Jewish culture. Therefore, to understand the culture, customs, and traditions of Israel fully, it is essential to understand the culture of the Jewish community.
The Jewish culture is made up of characteristics such as philosophy, mythology, mythicism, festivals, Judaism festivals, and Jewish festivals. Judaism culture is described as a religion of Jewish origin.
Enough with the past. I want to learn more about the culture and traditions they practice today.
Little cultural exchange has taken place between Jewish and Arab populations of Israel. Jews who immigrated to Israel over the ages from communities all over the world, including the Arab Muslim Middle East, brought with them both their own cultural heritage and aspects they had adopted from the majority cultures they had lived in.
Israel's cultural life is built on a foundation of a diverse cultural legacy, a common identity, and shared Jewish religious and historical traditions. Religion plays a major role in Israeli culture, society, politics, and legal system.
The legal system in Israel is a complicated fusion of fundamental common law on the one hand and numerous distinct jurisdictions based on religious affiliation on the other. Religious groups, in turn, self govern personal legal issues such as marriage, divorce, adoption, and inheritance.
Fun fact, did you know that due to the sacred land of Jerusalem, Israel has the most number of museums per capita?
I didn't know that. I want to learn some basic greetings. Where should I start with?
When meeting people for the first time, Israelis may be formal and use titles such as Mr. or Mrs., followed by their last name. Israelis commonly use their first names to address one another after making introductions.
The most common greeting and parting phrase in Hebrew are shalom, which means peace. Shalom may be followed by the casual greetings of manishma, or what's up, and makore, or what's happening. Some people may use the more formal mashloma for men and mashlomek for women, both of which means how are you?
It is common for people to address one another as ahi, which is slang for brother or friend.
People may say Shabbat Shalom when greeting on Friday evening. Throughout Saturday, a period known as Shabbat, are visiting a synagogue at these times. Some may use the Yiddish phrase Gat Shabbos, which translates to Good Shabbat.
Men typically shake hands when welcoming one another. Women may also shake hands, although some women, such as those who identify as Orthodox, would prefer to avoid physical contact with men. Close male friends may shake hands or pat each other on the back or shoulder to say hello. Muslim Israelis use the right hand when shaking hands with their counterpart.
Kissing on the cheek and hugging are also common greetings between people depending on their ethnic origin and level of comfort with physical contact between opposite genders.
Typically, Israelis are honest, direct, and informal in their communication. This is partly because Hebrew has a very straightforward grammatical structure.
Israelis are recognized for their straightforward and unapologetic directness in communication, which they refer to as degree. Instead of using indirect language like would it be possible, interests and needs are frequently stated with direct statements like I want or I need.
Before we proceed with the gestures in Israel, here are some do's and don'ts that you should take note of.
First, make sure to set boundaries with the topics you introduce in a conversation. Keep in mind that Israeli culture revolves around religion, and avoiding impersonal topics would be the safe option for you.
Second, discussions about the Israeli government, politics, or religious issues can quickly become passionate and heated. Should these topics arise in conversation, listen carefully and sensitively to your Israeli counterpart.
Third, Israelis often communicate in a straightforward, honest way and make less use of subtle cues, partly because Hebrew is quite a direct language. Try not to interpret an Israeli's directness as ill intended or rude.
Fourth, It is best not to assume an Israeli's religion as the country is rich in various ones.
Fifth, avoid telling an Israeli that they do not or do look Israeli. There is no typical Israeli in terms of appearance, since Israel is ethnically diverse. Avoid generalizing or stereotyping Israel or Israelis in relation to the Middle Eastern region.
Another major harmful stereotype Israelis encounter is that the country is dangerous or unsafe. Though well-intentioned, some people may express concern or sympathy towards an Israeli whose family resides in Israel, or may congratulate an Israeli for escaping the dangers of Israel.
Hmm. What more should I need to know?
Israelis may lightly touch or tap their counterpart while speaking. Contact between men is quite common as a sign of friendship and affection. Some common examples include a light punch on the arm or throwing one's arm around their counterpart's shoulder. Religiously observant Israelis usually avoid physical contact with the opposite gender.
Israelis usually stand less than an arm's distance from one another while talking. Moving away from someone while they are speaking might be seen as impolite. It is more typical for religiously observant men and women to stand further apart. However, it is typical for people to assemble closely in public areas like grocery store lines.
Direct eye contact is conventionally anticipated and conveys respect and interest in the individual. When speaking to a person of the opposite gender, some religiously observant women may look away.
Israeli communication frequently uses gestures. People are highly active and frequently talk with their hands. When highlighting or emphasizing a certain point, they can move their entire body.
I'm traveling to do business. What should I know?
Similar to the Filipino time we have in the Philippines, it is common for some people to arrive at a meeting 15 to 20 minutes after the designated time, especially if they are in upper management. However, it is advised to aim for punctuality and inform your Israeli counterpart if you are running late.
Before a meeting, people commonly shake hands or put their arms around a colleague's shoulders to greet one another.
It is customary to use formal titles when meeting a business partner for the first time. Despite the fact that most people rapidly switch to using their first names, it is crucial to accept your Israeli counterpart's invitation to do so.
In Israel, exchanging business cards is fairly frequent. Business cards are typically exchanged at the beginning of the meeting. It is polite to read the business card before putting it away.
Though there are defined hierarchies, management styles in Israel tend to be collaborative. As a result, everyone has a chance to voice their thoughts and participate in the decision-making process.
Israelis love to negotiate and bargaining is very common. Expect the first offer to be unreasonable as a way to begin the negotiations and barter the price down. It is common for Israelis to lead the negotiations.
Due to the informal and laid-back nature of Israeli business culture, people will occasionally leave meetings to answer phones and receive visitors.
Israeli business often centers around building strong business networks. This is known as protection, which refers to the idea of knowing someone who can connect you to other important and relevant people.
Building strong networks usually requires chutzpah, which means assertiveness, boldness, directness, and confidence. For instance, an individual might approach a new acquaintance for a favor.
The Israeli working week is typically 6 days, although most stores and services close early Friday afternoon in preparation for Shabbat. As such, Friday and Saturday make up the weekend.
Building relationships and establishing personal ties is highly valued. Building a relationship takes time, and it frequently involves interacting with one another outside of the workplace.
The level of seniority an individual gained during their compulsory military service and level of university education are highly regarded in Israeli business culture.
English is widely spoken in Israel's business environment, but learning a few Hebrew expressions and greetings is likely to be appreciated.
Although the English language is already prominent in the country, those wishing to do business in Israel are still advised to translate some documents into both Hebrew and Arabic.
Wait, but I don't know how to speak their language.
Don't worry, Julius. A very high proportion of around 85% of the Israeli population can speak English to some extent, while 2% use it as their native language.
That's right. English is taught from primary school up to the age of 18, and subtitled English language films and TV shows are also very commonly shown in Israel. As a result, most of the population who grew up in Israel can speak it to some level, and many of them are fluent.
Because of their extensive knowledge of the English language, they have opened their country to curious tourists like you.
You will have no problems in communicating with Israelis, especially in the tourist areas of Tel Aviv or Jerusalem. Almost everyone you deal with in hotels or tourism will speak it as it is a requirement for their job.
Unfortunately, the English language has taken over some of the urban cities in Israel. The number of Arabic language users has slowly declined, especially in recent generations. Western culture is very influential in Israeli culture today.
Most Israelis speaking the language are almost identical to the native English speakers. Their accents are adapted from the international shows they see.
However, there are also distinct differences, such as the overuse of the word relevant in every sentence, even if it's unnecessary or of different meaning.
Another distinction is the avoidance of military-related expressions, such as the party was bombed. Questions asked by an intonation is also a distinct feature of a native speaking the English language.
Oh, I think visiting that country could be quite intriguing.
Indeed, Israel is a safe place to visit as the country is prepared to welcome anyone. Their rich culture and history will surprise you.
Thanks. I will surely book my next trip to this meaningful country of Israel.
See
See
you
you on
on
your
your
next
next
adventure.
adventure.